Awesome. All right, guys, welcome to the session, Art and Ownership in the Digital Economy. We have an awesome panel here. I'm so excited to introduce them to you guys. First up, guys, we have Pablo Rodriguez Fraile, co-founder of Aorist, Francesco Boni, co-founder of artsquare.io, Nanne, Dekking, CEO and founder of Artory, and Geneviève Patterson, head of applied research at VSCO. Let's give them a hand of applause really quickly. So let's start with some intros. Pablo, tell us about you and your company.
Well, I'll try to be brief, but my name is Pablo. I've been part of the general ecosystem, the NFT, the digital art ecosystem for some time, and together, what we're trying to do with Aorist is to bring together a better experience for all the users that want to participate in this ecosystem with a very simple to use user experience platform, and with the benefit of bringing together a very strong team, a very influential team from the traditional world to influence as well, to curate, to help us put out the right type of big mind project. So we want to be that liaison between the digital and the physical, the traditional and what's happening here in this environment. And we want to add a little bit of professionalism, a little bit of sophistication, a little bit of curation to the amazing explosion of talent and innovation that we're seeing in the cultural space.
Awesome, great, thank you. Francesco, please tell us about artsquare.io.
Of course. At Artsquare, we're trying to democratize access to art. And in order to do so, we built a art organization platform where a user can buy fractional shares of fine art and trade them and sell them exactly like on the stock market. So as easy as investing in Google, Tesla, Facebook, you can invest in Andy Warhol, Picasso, Keith Haring, and so on.
I love it. Nanne, please tell us about Artory.
Sure. Well, Artory is about creating security about the value creators of artworks. There are certain attributes that create value about artworks. You know many of them. One of them is, of course, authenticity. That helps. Scarcity can help a lot as well. I'm very much from the physical art world, from the art market, actually originally an art historian. And I learned at an early age already that credible information about an artwork is extremely important and is actually value creator. And I hope that you will leave the room today listening to all of us, that you understand it's actually a profession to know how art values are created. We capture information about artworks, and it has to come not from Nanne Dekking. That was my old job when I was an art historian. And an art dealer. It should also not come from an insurance company, because that's a different business. They just want to sell premiums. It has to come from well-established entities in the art market and the art world that you can trust. For example, an independent art appraisal firm will help as well. What we do, we capture that information, and we were very much helped by the NFT enthusiasm, because I don't think it's a rage or hysteria or whatever, because now people understand that for 4 years already we were creating NFTs, capturing all that due diligence information, and those NFTs refer to an actual physical artwork. Amazing. I think for now that's enough, right?
That's amazing, I love it. Thank you. This panel is awesome, you guys. This will be the best panel of the day, just to let you know. And Geneviève, please tell us about VSCO, please.
Yeah, I'm also so excited to be here. Esteemed panel members, but so I'm here at an exciting time for my company because we just launched an NFT marketplace, exhibitionscocom, and we have a piece in the pop-up gallery, so please check it out. And what we do is a complement to what my colleagues on this panel do. We're trying to make it so that creators can make more money, can mint their art, can curate what they think is, fantastic work, and highlight their friends, and highlight the people that they think are valuable in this culture, and create, the history of art, the history of ownership that adds so much value to pieces, and hopefully become big enough that people want to own shares.
I love it. So let's get into what we all want to know, right? There's so many protocols that are out there. Why Algorand for your company? So Pablo, we'll start with you.
Well, I mean, for me, it was a very simple decision. I've been involved with Algorand now for several years outside of the art practice that I do. And for me, it's very simple. Outside of having the absolute best technology out there, they have the absolute best team. They're the focused, sophisticated, professional approach to the blockchain space. Their network is by far and away the most important in this ecosystem, and just everything around it. It's just been incredible to work together with Algorand. The technology works. Again, the team is hands-on, and it's just an incredible set of individuals that are working with a clear focus and with very professional approach. So it was a very simple decision.
That's awesome. All right, Nanne, you.
Well, we have Tim Kompanchenko, our CTO, who's here, who actually did all the due diligence and looked at all the different channels. We were actually working on Ethereum for 4 years already. One thing I want to add here is what Silvio said, it's green. And many people are telling me, Nanne, that's actually very nice. No, it's not nice, it's a necessity. So that's the first point. Next to that, what I could experience as a simple art historian and the founder of this company, what I already notice is Artory is an ecosystem. The fact that we already know each other sitting here is crucial. The fact that we can talk to people like David Garcia and even Steve, and unfortunately not yet to Silvio, but it will hopefully come today, gives you an idea about what we're creating here. We're using Algorand to start all kind of new trading. And my biggest fear is that when you start to create real-world assets, that people in the crypto world don't necessarily understand these real-world assets. Yeah. And that's what I hear and really love about Algorand. We are already a community, and we only swapped to Algorand 3-4 months ago.
Oh, wow, I love it. Awesome. Francesco.
Well, on our side, if you look at our product, what we do is we create multiple ownership of an artwork. And then we want people to trade these tokens very quickly on the secondary market. So we were looking for a technology that was scalable in order to match our ambition, and something that was also, of course, secure. And effectively, what we are doing, we are not reinventing the wheel. We are creating a private agreement between the parties, and then it's just a smart contract. It's not a private. It's not a contract written on a piece of paper. When we look at Algorand, we dive into the technology, and we saw that it was matching all of the requirements we had in order to scale our company. So technology side, it was a match. Then on the ecosystem side, I agree with you guys. It was an amazing experience, meaning that there is a solution for everything. The ecosystem is huge. There is so much enthusiasm in every player, from creators to tech guys to people in the professional services. So we chose it for the right reasons, I guess.
I love it. Awesome. Geneviève, why Algorand?
Same thing that everyone has said on here. Yeah, you guys got it. That's the reason. No, and I can only repeat that cost and carbon emissions are, what else are we thinking about, right? If we're bringing this to more people, if they're not already minting on some other blockchain, then it's because those things turn them off. And so, we went with Algorand because we wanted something that would not be scary to a new entrant into this market, that would make people feel excited about participating, not guilty about participating. And so far, it's been pretty successful. I think that, especially what Nanne said about how it's crucial to be green. When exhibitions launched, the artists that were our flagship, first participants, that was what they asked right off the bat. I don't want to do this because I can't be a party to making the world a worse place because I want to make my art, available. And so that was absolutely crucial. And then Francesco was saying about the secondary market. It's crazy what people do, what artists have in the past been made to do. Gas fees, waiting for transactions, that just is nonsensical if you're trying to bring it to a much bigger market. So yeah, the choice was obvious for us.
I love it. And actually, Nanne, I want to pick on you for a second because, you made the statement around how it's crucial to be green. Can you unpack that and what that means for you at Artory?
Yeah, hopefully everyone will think exactly the same about it, right? I mean, don't we care about the environment? And I just want to make sure that people don't think it's a cheap selling item, because first of all, making money is usually seen as being anti the environment. You have to be very cautious. What I found about Artory, apart from the about Artory, Freudian slip, about Algorand is the user friendliness. But of course, the fact that they have created, what a genius idea to create a blockchain technology that is eco-friendly. I mean, fantastic.
Absolutely. Awesome. Go ahead. Yeah, please, Pablo.
This is a very, very important point. We just mentioned, at least for Aorist, the technology, and we engulfed all of this into the technology. But even for Aorist, for ourselves, it's Algorand. They have the pledge, or they are the greenest blockchain layer one out there, and they have the pledge to continue to work to offset and to help the environment. So for us, again, all the network around that was very important. And even ourselves, we are automatically, together with Climate Trade, again, an entity around the Algorand ecosystem, together with Climate Trade, we're able to automatically purchase carbon credits with every transaction that happens in the platform, and even offset the minimal amounts that is even created.
Awesome. So, Francesco, I want to pass the mic to you because, there's a lot of conversation around fractionalization and how that works. Can you explain how Art Square is doing that to folks who are new to that space, and how they can be a part of that fractionalization on your platform?
Of course. It's quite simple, actually. It's a multiple ownership between the parties. We have some great artworks in the gallery. Back in the other room, I invite everyone to go check them out. We have Kit Haring and Orlinsky. You can just buy tokens that represent a share of the actual piece. So what happens after the listing is done? There is a situation of multiple ownership, and the token represent your right to have the artwork, and you can sell that right to anytime to anyone on the exchange. I think you should divide tokenization in two parts. Number one, create the multiple ownership. That's kind of a no-brainer if you think about it. No, you sell tokens and everybody has a piece. What's the real challenge? What could be the real revolution in the art space is to create a liquid market, because you teach me so, Nanne, that to sell an artwork takes a long time. So we want to create a tool that allows people to recover liquidity quickly, the same as the other asset class. So in the secondary market, you just, same as a crypto exchange or the stock exchange, you will put an order to sell, someone else will put an order to buy, and the transaction will happen on the platform.
Awesome, thank you. Pablo, let's go to you. Let's talk more about how users will be experiencing Aorist. I know you guys have a launch that's coming up. Kind of give us some more in-depth understanding of how that's going to work.
Yes. So I'll try to be very brief. But everybody saw the talent and the talent and innovation that's happening in this general ecosystem. But there are three fundamental problems that we're trying to solve here. One of them is the user experience that was mentioned by some of the colleagues here. The reality is that if you don't have a blockchain PhD, it's very difficult to operate now in the general ecosystem. Aside of that, again, there's a slight curation control. A problem with curation and quality control, because a lot of the platforms allow you to release works into the blockchain, but don't really offer any of that support. So what we're trying to do here, and of course the problem that we have, the environmental problem that we have. What we're trying to do here with Aorist is to realize what we call those big mind projects, those projects that have also that component of that physical exhibition, and that again, that they have the full support from a professional team that has the experience to bring an idea, a creative idea, into a full collection, into a full project. So again, everything will be priced in US dollars, but you have the ability to pay with several forms of payment, both traditional fiat as well as, of course, blockchain. And again, everything happens instantly, automatic credit purchasing with every transaction, and just a very simple point-and-click experience for the collectors. So that what's important and what's relevant in the platform is the art, is the culture that's coming out of there. And yeah, we think that hopefully we're opening the barriers to entry for a lot of people to participate in sophisticated, professional, curated, artistic experiences.
Awesome. I love that. So now a question for the entire panel, right? We are in this new Web3 world, and people are trying to understand, how does the traditional art world connect with this new world of like Web3 and art and tech? What are the things that the old or previous art world can learn from this new way that we're interacting with these pieces and assets? So I knew you were going to start.
Maybe as the oldest in the room, I guess, or in Miami, most likely.
You're a dealer. You're an art dealer.
Coming from the art market, what I find really interesting, what you see in the art market right now is they are looking at NFTs, but they're looking at NFTs as artworks of which they can make money. And they don't look at the technology. And I think we have to make a clear distinction. I totally believe that what Pablo is creating is value of NFTs and digital art that are becoming the new fine art. And that's what the art market is looking at. Our product is completely different, and I think what we're discussing here is completely different. We're discussing here how can you make real-world assets tradable? And how can you actually define that information is credible? So I love the NFTs because they are in technology. It has been a technology for us for years. People like Pablo and Francesco, they make it a household name, which I think is very important. So yeah, it's a whole new world out there. But don't look at the traditional marketplace. It sounds a little bit silly, the traditional marketplace. The marketplace is very successful. Never believe what people tell you, it's an opaque market, etc., etc. It's not that opaque, and it works. Look at Art Basel, it works. The only thing you have to be aware of is if you're going to invest in art, make sure that it's not opportunistically priced, because that kind of art, if it's good, it will sell. You don't want to end up with your crypto money buying art that the folks here at Art Basel couldn't sell. You want to tap into the same repository, and that's what we're trying to create.
I love it. Awesome. Geneviève, I see you nodding your head. Did you have anything you wanted to say?
I just think it's so exciting to think about the value chain, and how at VSCO we have an artist that's at a different point in their career than the kind of art that's being sold by my colleagues. And I still think that idea is what's exciting about this technology, that what we're doing with exhibitions is trying to help artists that are much earlier in their career control how they make money, how people interact with them, how they have access to a marketplace. But being able to capture the zeitgeist of a location is still something that I think is an open question, right? How do people who are a recent art school graduate or an illustrator who's still in high school in Kansas and loves like posting their work every single day and dreams about making this their life's work, how can we help catapult them into a career, a real career that supports their lifestyle and not make them be something where they make some assets that are then forgotten about? How do we really bring this into a community and a culture where you're building people's lives? Yeah.
You're right at the start of the value chain, which I like. You're creating value for them. I just looked at your app and the way you create value by organizing exhibitions. That's how many careers of artists started. So it's great. Yeah.
Thank you so much for saying
unpack
that.
that some more, John.
That's definitely what our vision behind exhibitions was. Is that, what helps an artist debut is having a collection shown and having some other person in the community who knows what they're looking at and knows what things are valuable and knows how trends are moving and say, oh, your work is part of this, and I'm going to include you with these group of other people who are already more successful, or kind of inviting you to be part of the party, and that we're hoping to use the blockchain to do that for more people. And thank you for recognizing it.
And don't leave it to next generations to decide what's authentic, etc. I mean, Elizabeth D is here from the Giorno Foundation. That's basically our whole day-to-day business, right? To look at information that comes from the archives, at least in Elizabeth D's foundation. The artist has only died recently, but to start at the beginning of any career is really important. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and I think that it's still we're all still experimenting with this. So who knows how it's going to evolve, but that's an exciting thing about the blockchain, right? Like the fundamental idea of a distributed ledger is that we're going to be able to have this so well documented and the interactions between people. I think that is like really the power of, I don't know, software development, databases, the internet. And who knows where it's going to take art.
I love it. One thing I'm curious. Oh, did you have something that you wanted to say, Francesco? Oh, okay, cool.
The sky is the limit. I agree with them.
Awesome, cool. One thing I do want to touch on before, and this is like the last question before the last question, is, you know, everyone's talking about how like NFTs and this artwork in this digital world is really cultivating community. I'm curious about how in your own personal experiences you've been witnessing other groups or even yourself cultivating community through NFTs. Like what kind of unique experiences have you guys seen in this space right now? Yeah, you can start
sure.
first.
I mean, I think again the community here it's everything. No, it has been really the big driver. What NFTs really unlock is that ability to be interoperable, to own digital items, to bring them to different domains, and to be part of an ecosystem. I think that's really what's attracting most of the people. They come in because they want to be part of the community, and it's very important. I just hope, just touching a little bit on what was spoken about here, is that NFTs allow you to really create financial instruments really from any asset. And while this is obviously an incredible innovation that we all look forward to see how it develops, I think we also need to be careful that not everything within NFTs should be a financial instrument.
That's true.
And that there is also a component of just representing the asset and just what it represents for the community, being a community asset, or So I do think still that the projects that will be successful here will be those that foster, that incentivize the community, and where people, it's a very collaborative place where people work together and build together.
Awesome. So Nanne, same question, but come from a different perspective of like, you know, how your company, you're kind of starting from the beginning of that verification process. So how do you see community being cultivated through the way that you're building in this space?
Right. Well, ultimately, the community remains to be seen. It's my community I'm looking at is the community of people who want to invest in art and have not been able to do it at the level where the most profit can be made. But looking at the NFT space, coming from an art market where the most valuable artwork there's no uniform idea about the attribution of the artwork. There are 4 or 5 specialists in the field of Leonardo da Vinci, because everybody knows what I'm talking about. And some of the most renowned scholars don't agree on the attribution. So I would tell you, that's not the kind of artwork you should invest in a tokenized way. Tokenization is not always the solution. But what I like about the whole NFT technology is, first of all, you see new buyers buying NFT as an artwork. And why do they do it? Because everything that you usually don't necessarily understand in the physical art market is captured in the NFT. So you know already what you're buying. And that's my job then, to link that to actual artworks, which has been my profession for many decades, unfortunately. Yeah.
I love it. Francesco, so come from your perspective of the fractionalization piece and cultivating that community.
Well, I think it's very interesting what we see on the platform, because democratizing access to art means that we target all the fun of artists that they dream about, they cannot afford. They go to see the exhibition, and then they buy the mug, they buy the poster, the postcard, and now they can own a piece of the artwork. So this is the emotional aspect of art. Then there is the speculative asset that, because we select only blue chip artworks, because we work with great partners in order to select the art that is on the platform, there is an investment side of it, because long term you might make some money out of the art. Something very interesting because of the technology is these communities are empowered, because the artwork has a life after it's tokenized, and it must be managed. It must be brought to exhibition. It must be decided if you want to accept or not a proposal to sell it.
Right.
And thanks to the DAOs, we can make the owners of the shares decide with pools what's the best decision for the artwork. So you effectively have a situation when the artwork belongs to the people. And I think that also for the artist, this is great because, again, there is a speculative aspect of making money, but there's also the aspect of sharing the art. If you think about the great pop artists, we have Kit Haring. Kit Haring was doing graffitis. Yeah. So I believe we will be happy to know that his artwork is tokenized with 30,000 owners that participate in deciding what's next for the artwork.
Right. Awesome. Geneviève.
Yeah, I think that aspect of inviting people from the world to participate in art, like a much broader section of the world. I mean, I don't even want to say section, right? But the whole world that hasn't been able to own art or make their own equity intersect with the art world, that is so exciting and why I really wanted to work on this. And the people that I have interacted with the most so far in our project is artists, professional artists. So the launch of exhibitions has, I can't quite remember, 25, 30 artists, curated by 4 curators who live in, time zones about as far apart as you can on the world. And that kind of just took my breath away whenever I would be on a call with, somebody in someone in Singapore, someone in London, someone in New York, someone in San Francisco, and that they together are making all of their work instantly available at the same time. And I'm so enthusiastic about it because these artists were so happy to be part of it. So strange thing, right? Developing a prototype, developing any software development thing, the first time it comes out, it's going to be sort of broken a lot. And
as an engineer, I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that I thought was, just inspiring, I can't think of a better word than that, is these artists who have no idea what I'm doing. They have vaguely heard of the blockchain. They've heard NFT over and over again, but it doesn't mean anything to them except like a set of initials, and how they are chomping at the bit to be part of it. And so that's something that has been exciting for me, and I, as a buyer, as not a creator, I'm excited to hear about everyone else on this panel because I'm I want to be part of it from this other side. Yeah. So really, your question about who we're interacting with, who are these people? It's just that they can't wait. My experience is that artists can't wait to get into it, and that and that that's why I was excited to work with this particular blockchain. That it made it so much easier for me to do that.
Awesome. Nothing but good things about Algorand, right? This is great. So we're gonna do a quick fire, rapid fast. I know a lot of you, everyone on stage has so many good things going on. So let's do 15 seconds. Each of you, let's run through before we are about to wrap up this panel. What's next for you in your company?
Well, I think we're very excited for the launch, the big launch event tomorrow. It's going to happen in the Faena district. I think we have some incredible activations. We're working with some incredible, talented artists that have a lot of great support. And please pass by at the Faena, in the Faena district in Miami, starting tomorrow at 6 p.m. You're going to see some wonderful exhibitions by people like Rafika Nadol, by people like Andre Reisinger, like Nancy Baker Cahill, and many, many other beautiful and amazing artists that it's going to be impressive.
Great. Nanne, what's next?
Well, Artory is going to trade physical art through NFTs with some of the largest alternative trading platforms in the world. Very proud of that, and I'm really proud of it because we managed to start to create art funds, $15, $20 million, that are all appraised independently, in our case by the largest art appraisal firm in the world, Winston Art Group, and that's actually the announcement we're going to start. We started a joint venture with them. I do believe in independent scholarship. I always did, and I also and I want to make sure that people understand that opportunistic pricing is never a good beginning of any investment. So proud of that.
Awesome, Francesco. What's next?
We're going to collaborate too, by the way. Yeah, we're going to
collaboration with these folks here.
Lots of collaboration here, actually.
Stay tuned.
Love fest.
On our Square side, we are working hard to launch our coin. We will have a token, the R Square coin, and it will bring liquidity to the platform, and will also bring the passive income to the art owners. So just by holding to the R Square coin, they could have a yield annually, and we really think that it will complete the ecosystem of R Square. So we are working hard on this. Thanks to the Algorand support, we aim to do it as soon as possible.
Awesome, I love it. And Geneviève.
Yeah, so I'm going to make another quick plug for exhibitions.visco.co, which is what just launched. We have 4 inaugural exhibitions with about a dozen pieces each, and we'll have some more curated exhibitions next month. Our co-founder, Greg Lutz, is going to have an exhibition. And then I don't know, I'm like excited. Who knows? It's an experiment.
Yeah.
So please let us know if anyone wants to see this marketplace taken further, or maybe collaborate with someone on this stage to have more exotic types of contracts or more opportunities for artists to make money. It's just experimentation right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much to our panel. This wraps up art and ownership in the digital economy. Thank you for listening.